Hey everybody, sorry about that. Coming to you from my home office today, and I used to say live from the Hazzan's office. Well, it's still the Hazzan's office, but it's the Hazzan's home office as we're traveling back and forth between office and hybrid all the time with the current wave. So it's midweek meditation again, and super excited to share this weekly series with you. Today I wanted to talk about anava, which is humility, and it came to me another program I was listening to on the radio was an interview with the late Sidney Poitier, who passed away this week, as many of you probably know. And as the leading black actor of his generation, certainly in the 1960s, and an inspiration to the likes of Denzel Washington and many others in our generation. Sidney Poitier grew up in the Caribbean with very humble roots. And one of the aspects of the story he was telling to Terry Gross struck me. And that is that when he was trying to get into acting at a very young age, at the age of about, let's say 11 or 12, maybe a little bit older, he went to the local black theater in New York City, was looking for a part, looking to get into one of their plays. And he was very poor, in his own words. He wasn't a very good actor. His English, or his American accent anyway, wasn't very good. And so after a couple of rounds trying to get in, after about 6 months spending time listening to American radio and trying to imitate our accents, he still wasn't successful. So instead of give up, he incredibly lowered himself further by applying to this school, not as a performer, not as a professional, but rather as the janitor, because he had been there auditioning and noticed both times he was there that they had no one cleaning up. They had no one to do any of the sanitary jobs that needed doing, and it was a small enough place that he figured he could do that job and maybe also learn at the same time. So he came to them with this idea that he'd be the janitor of the school, of the playhouse, and they were so impressed with his determination that he would take this seemingly lowly job that they allowed him to study, and that was the beginning of his acting, if not his stage career, the beginning of his acting training of his career. So I was really struck by that because, of course, when we see people up on the silver screen who have had so much success, we might assume that they always were such a success and that they're sort of born to be a success in that way. And hard to imagine such humble roots, especially for somebody so famous and so well known and so beloved like Sidney Poitier. But one of the things that I noticed, that you would notice listening to this great man give a speech give this interview about 20 years ago, is his amazing sense of humility, is his just sense that he doesn't need to be more important than anybody else. He got into it for the love of acting. So talking about this Jewish characteristic of anava, of humility, that if the great Gedolim, if the great ones of our generation, whether it be in religion or whether it be on the stage, can exhibit such humility, all the more so can we also exhibit this trait, exhibit this quality. So, sort of maybe an unexpected chant, which is Avinu Malkeinu, which comes from obviously the High Holiday Liturgy, but is also included in the daily davening. You may not have known that, in the Tachanun service, which comes right in between, right after the Amidah and right before either the Torah service or Ashrei. And it's right there, a tiny little moment for us to pray to God, for us to express our humility, express our own self-doubt, and to pray for acceptance. And right before this Tachanun, this pleading is over, we sing Avinu Malkeinu. Now, there aren't many opportunities to sing alternative versions, musically speaking, of Avinu Malkeinu, but I happened to have written one a few years back, So I'll share it now as a chant, and then we can do a 4 or 5 minute meditation on humility and lowering ourselves for the sake of others, lowering ourselves for the sake of a successful a successful path. Avinu, Avinu, Malkeinu, Avinu, Avinu, Malkeinu, Avinu, Avinu, Malkeinu, Avinu, Avinu, Malkeinu. Aleinu, Aleinu, ki ein banu nasi, ki ein banu nasi. Aleinu, 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 ki ein banu nasi, ki ein banu nasi. Aleinu, Aleinu, asay imanu. Tzedaka v'chesed, asay imanu. Tzedaka So think about the great Sidney Poitier, who's gone to his eternal rest. His humility, his sacrifice. We take our own tradition, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanena V'Anenu, Ki Ein Banu Masim. Deal with us lovingly and save us, because we have no deeds. Collapse the ego. Do a trust fall. Trust fall right into Kadosh Baruch Hu. Just this idea we don't need a big self. Just a small practice. And we'll end one more time, third chant. Avinu, Avinu, Malkeinu, Avinu, Avinu, Malkeinu, Chaneinu, Chaneinu, Ki ein manu nasi, Ki ein manu nasi, Chaneinu, Have a great week, everybody. Stay in good health. See you next Wednesday.